Hey everybody, Dog8798 here. This is my several movies that either need sequels or just need to be remade. And the very first movie I gotta start off with is Dragon Ball Evolution. There have been, what, 3 Dragon Ball live action films, and none of them have got, all of them were good, and none of them have really ever got sequels. And I want a Dragon Ball Z cinematic universe, and that's what this was supposed to be the start of. But of course that never happened. Be talking more about this in another video. The next movie on this list I don't own, but I've seen several times on here, is Guyver. Of course, the Guyver movies, of course, are based on the Japanese manga and anime of the same name. Both the Guyver movies were awesome, and there was gonna be a Guyver 3 in the 2000s, but the rights reverted back to Japan, so they control the rights to Guyver. In my opinion, I want someone to reacquire the rights to Guyver and make a sequel, either make a sequel to Guyver 2, or just start the whole franchise over, and go even closer to the manga with a reboot. It would be cool if Japan makes it, but my problem with Japanese cinema is that, well, since it's made over there, it takes a long time to get released over here. Other live action of Japanese products that have been produced in Japan include the Rurouni Kenshin live action movie and the more recent Gotcha Man live action movie. Both of those movies have not been released here in America. So that's why I want America to acquire the license and make them. The next one, of course, is it's down here somewhere. Hold on, it's somewhere. Hold on, it's somewhere. I'm looking for it right now. I found it. The next one, of course, is the Green Lantern live action film starring Ryan Reynolds. Man, this right here was awesome. Like I said, I thought this film was gonna suck, but I was a huge fan of the Green Lantern, and I've always wanted the Green Lantern to have his own cartoon series, his own movie, and his own movies. Huge fans of the animated features, First Flight and Emerald Knights, and so I still watch this live action film, and this live action film blew me away with its action and special effects and brilliant origin story. This was a great setup film for even future and better things. Warner Brothers is talking about, they're still trying to get a sequel, but they're not pursuing it hard enough. They need to pursue a sequel to this harder. They don't need to reboot, even though if they can't do a sequel, and they probably will, a reboot, I guess, that goes even closer to the story would even be even better. But this right here was freaking awesome and needs a follow-up. The next on this list are right here. The next movies on this list are Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Of course, there was supposed to be a sequel to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat Annihilation back in 1997. Back in 1997, a sequel was supposed to happen immediately after this, but because of this film's poor box office performance and grossing less money than this movie did, a sequel's never happened, and the sequel's been in developmental hell for several years now. There was recently a reboot, produced by Kevin Takaran. I can't pronounce his name, but anyway, this guy sucked. He wanted to make Mortal Kombat like Batman Begins, and he's finally off the Mortal Kombat live action reboot, and he's still doing the legacy stuff. So I want them to do a reboot. Either a sequel to this would have been good, but I want them to do a reboot and go closer to the story and have characters like the Kung Lao, Stryker, and Cabal, who were missing from the original series in the movies. But both of these movies were awesome, and they badly need to be remade. All right. The next movie on this list, of course, I don't own these. I've seen these on Hulu and here on YouTube. That's the Toxic Avenger. movies. Of course, a more recent Toxic Avenger reboot has been announced, but there's not much development on it. There's not much known on when it will ever be out, but they badly need to make a Toxic Avenger movie. The first two movies were awesome. 3 and 4 were terrible, but I still enjoyed them, and I love the cartoon series. I would love an adaptation of the Toxic Crusaders cartoon series. They were trying to do that back in the 90s, but it never happened. The next franchise, of course, is Masters of the Universe. The 1987 film starring Dolph Lundgren was badass. This was an awesome B-movie, an adaptation of He-Man back in the 80s. Special effects and CGI has come a long way since then, and you can go even closer to He-Man. If you make a He-Man movie, it'll be the biggest thing since Star Wars and that new Guardians of the Galaxy coming out this year and Avengers. You can make a badass Masters of the Universe movie. There, of course, several directors have been attached to it. I keep forgetting which one got the project. Got the project now. I remember it being John Chu, but he left to do something else. So a new guy has on it, but there's not much known about casting or when it's gonna ever come out. So yeah. The next movie I don't own, I would like to own one day, and that's Spawn, starring Michael Jai White. I love the 1997 adaptation of the Spawn comics. Huge fan of the Spawn comics, and I thought the 1997 version was pretty good. I want to see it even better. They want to do a sequel, just like with Mortal Kombat. A sequel has been in developmental hell for several years now, and more recently, Todd McFarlane, creator of the Spawn comics, said there'll be a reboot. I want to see a real reboot that's even closer to the Spawn comics. I would love to see Hellspawn in a live-action adaptation of Spawn. The next film I also don't own, but actually I do own it. I have it downloaded somewhere, and that's Fist of the North Star 1995. The 1995 live-action movie starring Gary Daniels and Kostas Maniler. For a B-movie with a low budget, I think about $3 million was made to produce this movie. This film right here was awesome. The stunt work and fighting and story were pretty good. The acting wasn't that good, but you can get even better actors today. And after seeing stuff like Dragon Ball Evolution and Mortal Kombat, an updated Fist of the North Star live action film with those type of effects, the ones the Mortal Kombat movies had and Dragon Ball Evolution had, would be even better. Fist of the North Star is one of the greatest Japanese comic and anime series of all time, and they need a really good comeback, man. And I want to see a live action series and a new television series. The next series, of course, is it's somewhere in here. I had right here. Next series, of course, is the live action Street Fighter movie. Of course, right now, they recently reduced the Street Fighter's Assassin's Fist web series to Machima channel, and they said if it ever does good, if the Ryu and Ken story do good, they'll do a story with Guile. I would love, if this web series turns out to be a success, I love to see a better I love to see a better live action movie in theaters. In theaters, because I thought this Street Fighter movie right here, yeah, it didn't follow the games and kind of ruined it a little bit. I thought this, for a 90s adaptation of Street Fighter, was a badass movie. You can do so much better with a Street Fighter movie today, and I hope that Assassin's Fist stuff does well so they can do that. What's next on here? The next one is the next one here is the Dread 2011 movie. I have this downloaded somewhere. I saw it when it came out and I loved it. This was an awesome reboot. This was one of the only reboots that was actually good. A reboot that actually did what it was supposed to do. Improve what was wrong with the previous movies. This movie improved everything that was wrong with the original Judge Dredd, starring Stallone, and this right here was an awesome action movie, and they've been trying to get a sequel out, but the film bombed despite positive reception, bombed in theaters, and they've been now counting on DVD sales and a petition to get a sequel, and I hope Judge Dredd, the new Dredd, I hope the 2011 Dredd movie gets a sequel, because this was awesome. The next movie on this list is the 1994 Double Dragon movie. Highly doubt they'll ever remake or reboot this because the Double Dragon hasn't really been anything since. They most recently had a reboot on the Connect, but they really haven't done anything video game wise ever since their company filed for bankruptcy. And this live action film was a flop, but I enjoyed it. And after seeing Judge Dredd, which is pretty much this, only with two cops and gunfights, but a new badass martial arts action movie about two brothers fighting the Black Dragon Gang in a post-apocalyptic world. That would be badass today, and that's what pretty much Judge the Dredd 2011 movie was. The next movie, of course, is the next movie that, of course, that needs to be remade is, I don't own this one either, but I have this I have a website where I can watch it, and it's uploaded on several places here on YouTube, and that's the King of Fighters 2011 film. I would love to see a sequel to this film, or a remake that goes even closer to the game and have all the characters from the game in this movie. I thought this was a badass CGI. I thought this was a badass live action movie with a pretty good story, and I think a reboot or a sequel would even be great. Well, this was my movies that either need to be remade or need sequels. Doug out.